In this lesson, we will envelope the character's face. Now what I'd like to do is start with the easiest task, which would be to skin the eyes and the teeth. But before we do, I'd like to point out something very interesting, something we do not want to overlook. And it has to deal with our attachment constraints. Let's go ahead and skin the face first, just to kind of take a look at something. We'll head over to our layer manager and we'll go ahead and unfreeze the face. Let's also take a look at the texture with F3, and we can also hide the wireframe with F4. So with the face selected, we'll add our skin modifier. And next, let's go ahead and add our envelope objects. We'll click on add, and this is actually really simple to do because we have paid close attention to the naming convention we have used for each object. So to add all of our envelope objects, it's just a matter of searching for the prefix bn underscore. There we go. All of those have now been selected. We can now go ahead and click select. Great, so the face has been skinned, but take a look at something. Notice how it has shifted. Why is that? Aren't we in our skin pose? Well, not necessarily. With the attachment constraint, it uses keyframes to record the position that we have moved each of our objects to. So in this case, we've moved each object to make sure it is at the center of every plane. Now, take a look at what frame we're on. We're on frame 1, but this is not the start frame in Max. It's actually frame 0. So if we were to hold down Control, Alt, and drag with our left mouse button over to the right, we can reveal frame 0. Now watch what happens when we move to that frame. Take a look, the face is now in its actual skin pose. You could also see how our helpers have moved back to their start position. So all we need to do is go ahead and take the first key that has been recorded, and we need to go ahead and remove that keyframe and just work with the new keyframe we created when we moved each helper back to the center of every plane. This is actually super simple to do. Let's say we do this. We'll go ahead and remove our skin modifier. That way we can start with a fresh and clean skin pose once we add our envelope objects back. So we'll trash that on the face. Let's now go ahead and hide our mesh. Great. And now we can go through and grab each one of those helpers that we have constrained to every plane. It might be easier to do that in wireframe mode, so I'll go ahead and press F3 and we'll go through and select all of the helpers with the prefix PT CNS, and take a look. There are those keyframes. We don't want to remove all keys because that's going to throw off the attachment constraint. Remember that keyframe's there to record our position, so we want to make sure it remembers the position of the helper at the center of each plane. Alright, so we'll go ahead and grab all of those helpers. They're all selected. Great. Let's now go ahead and remove the key on 0. Great. Notice how they kind of shift back to the center because we've recorded that position. So to keep things clean, we could always go ahead and take the key on 1 and just slide that over to 0, and we're just fine. Excellent. So you'll notice now when we skin the face, it will not shift because we're in our skin pose now. Alright, so that's just something to keep in mind about the attachment constraint. Let's say we go ahead and get started on our skinning process. We'll go ahead and bring the face back. We'll also go ahead and take a look at the texture. Alright, starting with the eyes. We know that they should be weighted to their envelope object, which would be the eye bone on each side. Alright, so that's going to be a really straightforward process. We simply go ahead and add the skin modifier and go ahead and add the eye bone. So in this case, it's going to be BN L I. Let's go ahead and click select. And there we go. To test this out, we can go ahead and grab that eye bone and start rotating it. A fast way to get to it is to simply select the nub and then go ahead and press page up. We're just grabbing that nub, of course, because it kind of protrudes out of the eye and it's easy to grab. But now once we hit page up, we move up in our hierarchy. We can now go ahead and start to rotate the bone object to test it out. Looks great. Let's go ahead and take care of the right eye. So again, with that selected, we'll add our skin modifier. Okay, so from there, we're searching for BN underscore R underscore I. There it is. We'll now click select. Again, to test this out, grab the nub object, hit page up. Now we can start to rotate the envelope object. Cool. Okay, so that takes care of the eyes. Let's go ahead and now take care of the teeth. So what I'd like to do is go ahead and just hide the face. We'll head over to our display tab. With it selected, we'll click on hide selected underneath the hide rollout. Now, starting with the upper teeth, let's go ahead and add our skin modifier. We know that they should be fully influenced by the head bone. So let's go ahead and search for the head bone. bn_head. There it is. We'll click select. How about the lower teeth? Really simple. They need to be skinned to the lower jaw. So we'll click on the add. It's going to be bn_jaw. Alright, we'll now go ahead and click select. Let's test this out. So now, if we were to grab the jawbone as we start to rotate, you'll notice, alright, the teeth are now skinned and moving just fine. When we grab the head, of course, everything will follow. So we just have the face to skin. Let's go ahead and get to it. We'll go back to our display tab. We'll choose unhide by name. Let's now go ahead and unhide, grab the face, and reapply the skin modifier. There it is. Alright, so we'll now go ahead and search for all of our envelope objects again. bn_select. Sweet. Now there are just a few bone objects we'll want to remove. They'd be the eye bones, because of course they shouldn't influence the face. So let's go ahead and search for those. There's one for the right eye. We'll go ahead and remove that. And the one for the left eye should be higher up on the list. There it is. So we'll click remove, and now that is gone. Great. Let's say we test out our initial deformations. I'll go ahead and grab the jawbone's nub, hit page up to grab the envelope object, and take a look. So the deformations might look kind of rough, but honestly, we'll get some great results in no time at all as long as we block in our weighting. So nothing to worry about here at all. Great. Let's say we stop the lesson here and cover skinning techniques in the next lesson.